Okay, welcome guys. Episode 14, short flight. So I've completed my traffic pattern flying in the uncontrolled airspace stage of my flight training. And today we're going to start with our short flights. So that means hopping from one uncontrolled airport to the next. Here near the Bakersfield area, because I need to practice a lot more the PilotEdge stuff and using radio navigation to get around and to really triangulate my position and my destination airport, because that's a really important skill. So today we're going to make a new cross-country flight from Bakersfield Airport to Kilo Delta Lima Oscar. I don't know by heart what it is called, so let me have a look. There on the north here it is called Delano Airport, and what I'm planning to do is take off from Bakersfield from over here, hop all the way over to Lost Hills, that wonderful pistachios and almonds airport. Although the title is quite intriguing, is a private airport, so I'm just going to avoid those, I guess. Hey Stephen, hey FX Guru, good afternoon, welcome aboard. So what I'm going to do here is fly from Bakersfield to Lost Hills, so do an arrival there, perhaps some touch and goes, and then move on to Delano. And to get to Delano, obviously we can just go straight on to Delano, but I thought, hey, there's something interesting that we can practice here, or practice, I think it's quite basic, but might be fun as a radio navigation kind of scheme. We can use, I don't know what the term is, perhaps it's also triangulate, but there's a radio beacon over here to the north that's called Tulle, or something like that, Tulle, and we've got Shafter. So let's just imagine that this MOA is active from surface up to space, and we need to avoid that just for practice sake. And we would like to go from Lost Hills to Delano. Now, obviously we can just use a visual reference point that we need to go to first, a little bit to the south until we can make that northerly direction. Hey Kerbo, thank you. Thank you for being here. I thought what we could do is when we depart from Lost Hills, from that touch and go or whatever we are planning to do, we can tune in to Shafter and go straight to Shafter, while at the same time for the Nav2 tuned in to Tulle and wait until we cross the 030 inbound radial to Tulle. So until we get that radial, then we go up north to Delano, which is a bit too complicated, I guess, for such a small and practically easy cross-country flight, but it's cool just to practice that radio navigation. So we could do something like that, which I think is awesome. Hey Mason, welcome aboard. So that's the idea, guys. Always just an intro. I hope you enjoy.
I'm passing through 500 direction 715. 715, 134, 125.
Okay, so yeah, so what's happening? Well, the first thing that I've already noticed looking outside is visibility. I don't know if you guys can see it, but already I can see some trees there already going into some fog, or, well, I guess there's still low visibility around Bakersfield currently. And I've already peeked to the weather briefing charts and already saw some marginal VFR active. Not in terms of clouds. There's not really a lot of clouds here. Actually, the ATIS of Meadows Airport. Let me hop back to the chart. Oh no, it does says marginal VFR, but not because of cloud seeding, because it's clear skies, but because of the 4 statute miles of visibility. Well, that's not very much visibility. So yeah, that's going to be challenging. So I thought, well, should I even consider flying today? Well, I think it's doable, and that's because the forecast says that the visibility will actually improve in the next few hours. I will go through the briefing in just a sec. And I would also like to get a better feeling of my personal weather minimums. So visibility is a big part of that, obviously. So we're going to have a look at that too, or get a feel of what that means for statute miles of visibility in terms of VFR flying. Okay, but that's already skipping ahead. First, some announcements. I reviewed my previous flight, even though it was a flight test and I passed. I spotted a few, well, not mistakes, but things that I could improve on. First off, I noticed that I did my taxi checks too late. So initially, when you release your parking brakes and start your taxi, then already immediately you should check your brakes, because otherwise if you don't and you taxi and increase your speed, and then you notice that your brakes aren't working, well, then you are in trouble. So that's not a good thing. So immediately once I release my parking brakes, I should test my brakes, and once I make my first turn, I already look at the turn indicator and slip indicator, see if those are working and if the heading indicator turns along. So that's something. Also at the run-up, I made a 360 turn, which was great, but I did it with my lights on. Not a biggie, but I should have turned off the lights because other people might have taxied there, or if there was someone in the pattern, he might be really blinded by the light, but that might distract. So I should have just turned off my landing lights before I made that turn. Yeah, small thing, but important. A good thing though was noticing that if I come in more shallow at landing, that gives me a much better feel of creating a more smooth touchdown. So obviously when I come into with a much too large angle, big angle, then at the last moment before touchdown you need to really pull on that yoke, which makes getting that sweet spot of a touchdown quite difficult. So a little more shallow glide slope might actually help. Also, what some of you mentioned, the stall warning sound should sound when I make my landing. Thank you for following, K. Smith. Hey Keith, awesome, you're here. PilotEdge CEO, awesome, thank you. Well, obvious, I guess, but I'm a big fan of PilotEdge, and well, I can't wait to meet you guys in Flight SimCon if the donations keep going. Yeah, so that stall warning should sound before I make my touchdown, so the airplane actually lands on its feet. Some other thing I noticed, but I'm already skipping now to. Hey Dad, welcome. Was the part of the weather briefing. We're already skipping to my tabs here, other tabs. Let me see if we can find one. Yeah, so I was wondering, but I'm not really sure yet. You can see here these indications of turbulence. Well, these are altitudes, so that means 14,000 feet, I believe. But I was wondering, is that then the floor or the top? And well, now you can see other depictions here too. Well, this is actually the top. If I'm correct, please correct me if I'm wrong. So in this case, the top would be 4,000 feet, and this would be 18,000 feet. So if there's no depiction here or no number here, that means from this surface up to 14,000, I guess. Something I wondered about last time, and yeah, that's something that I looked up, and I think that is right. Let me see what to turn down. Oh yeah, when I shut down the my plane at the end of my flight test in the previous episode, I forgot to turn off my instrument lights, my radio lights, and well, that's also not a big thing. But now by day, if I would turn on the batteries, especially when there's a lot of daylight, you will not notice that the lights are still on. I guess that can even be the case of the glare shield or other kind of lights, but I should make it part of my checks to turn those completely off. Actually, I don't know if they are off right now. Click. No, they weren't. Off. Off. Yeah. So again, minor thing, but again, I'm loving these details. So I just want to get a hang on what I should do to make those night flights more safe or much more effective. Also, what I really liked, I was listening to the announcement that the other guy made on Bakersfield when I flew in the previous episode, which was great. Really added to the flight test experience. But I was not really impressed, but I really liked the fact that he was making announcements that were really not that standard, but he did them to allow me to know what was going on the traffic pattern. So he did, for example, when he departed from Bakersfield, he went up north and did some practice maneuvers there. And even though he was still doing maneuvers, he was listening to the CTEF of Bakersfield, listening to me doing my traffic patterns and landing, and just reminding me of the fact that he was still doing the maneuvers sometime after my announcement, which really helped me to get a picture of what was going on in the vicinity of Bakersfield. So I really like that. I guess I'm too strict with just the standard announcement procedures, and guess just in a more pragmatic sense or manner, it makes sense to make perhaps more non-standard announcements if the situation calls for that. That's something interesting, and I guess I will develop as my training progresses. And last thing, I extend my crosswind legs too much. So the whole idea is that your traffic pattern is that tight, is well, to some extent tied to the runway, so that in case you have an engine failure or something else, you can do an emergency glide back to the airport. But if I extend my crosswind leg, flying too far away from the airport, then in case when I do have an emergency or an engine out, I'm too far away to make that emergency glide back. So it should be about, I guess, a half a mile or a mile or so, that crosswind leg. And mine was about 2. So I should be more aware of that. Okay, how far was he away? Well, he was about yeah, that's a good question, because Meadows is at the north of Bakersfield, and I was wondering about that too when I was taking a shower after the episode last time. He was mentioning that he was north of Bakersfield. I thought, well, my God, that's the Delta airspace. So if he was still on CTEF, that would be let me switch. That would not be a good thing. So I'm hoping that he was, or I'm guessing that he was just south of this Delta airspace. Keith, turn crosswind within 300 feet of pattern altitude. I know. Then turn downwind upon reaching pattern altitude. Generally works and keeps you reasonably tight. Yeah. Well, that's what I did. But until when I reached the traffic pattern altitude on the crosswind leg, I gave myself then again a few seconds just to keep on flying that crosswind leg. And when I was on downwind and I was looking over my shoulder at my runway, I thought, well, I'm too far away, I think. So I guess what you're saying, Keith, is crosswind, once I reach traffic pattern, then already my crosswind leg is extended enough or long enough, and then I can just immediately turn to downwind. Not a big thing, but I would like to keep my traffic patterns nice and tight. Okay, so guys, crosswind flight for the new guys. Short flight. These are still the basics, but what I'm trying to do here is depart from Bakersfield, go to Lost Hills, and then to Delano, doing some touch and goes, I guess, at Lost Hills. Depends on how much time we have, and even though we can fly under the Lemoore MOA, I thought it might be cool just to practice. I don't know what the technical term is, but triangulate our leg from Lost Hills to Delano using the Chule, I don't know what it's called, Chule, VOR, and Shafter. And just pretending that this Lemoore MOA is from the surface up, and I would like to fly this leg, so fly a little bit to Meadows and then make the left turn to up to the north to Delano. So I thought, well, we tune into Shafter, fly a, well, what is it, about 90-degree heading, and then until we reach the inbound radial to Chule, let's say it was 030, we fly to Delano, just for practice sakes. I mean, it's a bit too complicated for such a basic turn or basic leg here, but, well, might be cool. That's the whole idea, and my concern, as I'm always flying in real-world weather conditions, is marginal VFR. Well, let's immediately go to the weather briefing, trying to learn how to do that, and we will see that the weather conditions are at the brink of IMC really, but they are improving. Currently, I set my no. Here at Bakersfield, it's just early morning, and well, as the sun comes up and heats the earth, then that visibility problem that I mentioned at the beginning of this stream will improve. Well, let's have a look at the let's have a look at the chart. So general chart, well, nothing really bad going on here. This is a much more detailed chart. Again, I need to study what these troughs mean in terms of weather conditions for pilots. I mean, I know they are not good, but what they exactly mean is something I need to study. And this chart it's a forecast of rain and snow. Well, there's none here in our area here at in Bakersfield, but there is this trough, and well, that's something that I need to study what that means. Then significant weather. Well, as you can see at 06 Zulu is currently 17 Zulu. There was marginal VFR weather, well, around the Bakersfield area, I guess. It covers it. And if we look at the 18 Zulu of today, so that's in about an hour, we can see that that marginal VFR is still a bit there and actually now moved towards the, or is more nearby Bakersfield, or is on top of Bakersfield, and also some IFR weather. IMC exists. So that is a concern. I mean, the marginal VFR part mostly, because this IMC is much more east of us and north of us. Yeah, so that's a flag. Well, if we look at the airmets, the graphical airmets, what is the time? This is 18 Zulu. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. We can see that IFR region here, but it's on, well, it's far up north. So that's the that's San Francisco, so it doesn't really concern us. What are these lines, by the way? Freezing temperatures, I guess. Is that from surface up? I don't know what that means. Or is that, oh no, that's from, yeah, I don't know how I should read this. If it starts at 12,000, or if it's from the surface up to 12,000. Well, you learn in each episode as to I should study that. Okay, moving on. No convective SIGMETs active. Area forecast, Southern California. I guess this is the only one I need to look for. In the previous episodes, I'm only studying this one, but perhaps the coastal one is also applicable, or I should add to get a more coherent idea, understanding of what is actually going on. But Southern California, I guess this one makes the most sense. Well, Outlook VFR, but here you can see other weather is active. Again, it's a very general description, so I'm kind of considering of leaving this one out, really, or starting with this one as we go into more detail, looking at the other weather charts. So it's good that you have a general picture, and also I like the forecast, the outlook information here, but well, still. This one is very useful. Sealing. So this is cloud sealing, very important to us if we fly in Acker airspace, which most of the Bakersfield area actually is, except for Meadows there. We need to ensure cloud separation, and even aside from that, it also makes practical safe sense to remain clear of clouds. So in acrospace, it doesn't even really, it shouldn't even be, if it is a concern to you what your minimums are there, or your separation of clouds, you can already doubt whether you should fly in the first place. But still, cloud sealing. What time? 18 Zulu Thursday. That's correct. Well, let's look at the colors. We're about here. I guess about here. So that would be 3,000, or perhaps even 1,003. No. I guess it's about here. Yeah. So we can expect a cloud sealing starting at around 3,000 or up to 6,000 feet. Let's have a more forecasted view. Well, that cloud sealing then moves away. So that's a good thing. So in about an hour, so this is 18, we would have that cloud sealing. Okay. So that we should take into consideration when we determine our altitude. When we fly to up north. Visibility terms, where we are, 18 Zulu today, so that's in about an hour too. We can see some bad stuff. Well, that's where the visibility issue comes into play. So again, I guess Bakersfield is, well, around here or something, which should be, well, perhaps between 3 or 5, or perhaps even 2 to 3, and then we would be in IMC. So this would be a flag. This would be a very concrete and obvious sign that it's not really a great flying day in terms of visibility. So marginal VFR doesn't mean that and clouds and visibility are bad. It just means that either of those variables are in the marginal VFR or IMC conditions. level, and visibility is currently active. What does it do in the next coming hours? If we look at 21 Zulu, you can see that that already improves a bit. So about 3 to 5 miles, but still we can expect during our cross-country flight low visibility. Now, as private pilots, as this is a VFR flight, that is not a very helpful thing. Still, I'm very curious to get a better feel of what it means to fly in low visibility. I mean, it's just a very technical term to me. If I see 3 to 5 such miles, I think, oh, marginal VFR, so we are legal to fly. But again, my personal weather limitation in Flight Simulator, I'm not aware of at all. Perhaps if I'm up there and I need to search for those uncontrolled airports because we have no real, not an ADF or some VOR beacon that is on top of the airport that we're going to fly to, we need to have a visual reference of the airport. So it perhaps becomes quite hard to find the airport. But I feel challenged and curious to find out. So let's just take off and see whatever happens. If the visibility is too low, then I'm just going to return to Bakersfield after departure and just do some traffic pattern flying here. Yeah. Keep on that weather briefing turbulence. This is for heavy pilots. I want to have light pilots. I don't know if there's anything changing here. And let's say 3,000 feet. And this is from 16 Zulu. Let's do 18. Yeah, there's not real no turbulence there. Let me check if 19 Zulu, 22. Well, 22. Well, obviously, then as the day starts, then you can expect that there's more turbulence by the end of the day or during the day than in the early morning. That's also why most pilots, or if you would like to have a comfortable flight, I guess in terms of weather, you should fly in the early morning. Okay, let's move on. Then some satellite imagery loop here, so you can see here cloud coming in. That's also that ceiling that we saw in the previous charts. This is the infrared one. I love these charts, man. Wow. I mean, weather, this is just such a superficial understanding of what weather means tailored to aviation, but I would really like to follow some courses just to get a better idea of what the weather is doing. I love, it's a quote from Robin Collins from Sporties, who said, well, pilots should be weather junkies. Weather is obviously a very important part of flying, but there should also be some natural, spontaneous interest in what weather is, and to try to understand it. It's a fascinating, well, phenomenon, but it's also a very complex, dynamic system, I guess, that is worth a lot of study just by its own. Anyway, I'm hoping to develop a better understanding of weather throughout my training, and I guess I need to look for some courses or stuff there that initially specifically tailored to pilots. There are some sporty apps for iOS. I think I've already looked at a couple. Weather conditions for all seasons. So what does it mean as a VFR pilot to fly in the summer and in the winter, and what different kind of weather conditions exist? Very, very nice content and very interesting, and it applies to Flight Simulator too in a lot of ways. Radar, not a lot of going on here. And finally winds. Well, not anything big, although I don't really like these charts. I mean, for such a local area as Bakersfield, this is more like an airliner kind of view. So perhaps I should change this one too in one of the next episodes. NOTAMs, well, don't really apply, but again, I can put in multiple, I guess. Let me see. First, we're going to go from Bakersfield to Lost Hills. That's Lima 84. Lima 84. And the other one was that Delano Delta Lima Oscar. Kilo Delta Lima Oscar. And now if I press view NOTAMs, we get them all. Yeah. Well, again, in PilotEdge, these NOTAMs are not really implemented, although what is implemented, I think, but Keith knows much better than I do, is the closing of runways. I guess in Las Vegas some time ago, a particular runway was closed, and I don't know the specifics, and that was simulated in PilotEdge too, which is awesome. But these kinds of minor things obviously are not. But still, I like to incorporate them in my routines and have a sense of how to read them, and also have a sense of, well, get a more realistic kind of briefing going on here. So what do we see? Again, here we know already the NOTAMs of Bakersfield, although there seems to be more additional ones. But well, these are all out of service. These are not really interesting. Lost Hills, there's nothing. And there, aerobatic aircraft with an area defined, radio advised. And this means that there's an automated weather blah 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 system that is out of service. Does it mean that we cannot pick up ADIS, or what does that mean? Let me have a look. It does mean aerobatic activity. Well, not really a concern to us on PilotEdge, I guess, but it's good to know. And I guess that ADIS would work also. So again, these NOTAMs are just fun to incorporate, but they don't really relate to Flight Simulator that well, I guess. So then we can move on to filing a flight plan. Again, this is just for fun. I mean, these VFR flight plans are not really read or seen by anyone on PilotEdge, by the controllers, but I would like to file anyway because we're doing a cross-country flight. In the real world, we would also file a flight plan. So let's just do one. They show up in the PA aware on the map, the PilotEdge map, which is fun. TN Garner, if you want to learn more than ever you wanted to know about weather, check out Pilot Workshop's weather package. I've learned enough that I argue with weather guy on TV now. Oh, awesome. Cool. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Aircraft identification. Oh, Pop Hotel Tango in your mic. We're a Dutch airplane. We are a Cessna 182. We are Alpha. You guys don't see the pull down, but I do. Slant Alpha. True airspeed will be around 120. Departure airport is Bakersfield, and our destination airport will be KDLO. That's right. Right? Yeah, KDLO. And even though we do a touch and go on that Lost Hills airport, I don't think we should. Well, we could do that in remarks, I guess. We could put that in. Cruising altitude, yeah, that's obviously important. We didn't discuss that. So initially, we're going to fly to Lost Hills. Looking at the cloud ceiling that might still exist, we should remain clear of clouds. So let's say, well, it was around expecting around 3,000 feet AGL, those cloud ceiling. So we can fly 2,500 or so. We don't need to fly VFR altitudes until we are 3,000 feet AGL above. Well, 3,000 AGL above that altitude. So we can just pick any altitude, I think. So that will be fine. If clear is sky, if the sky is clear, then we can fly up higher. I mean, this is how many nautical miles? Plan 36 nautical miles, not that far, so we don't need to go up that much. There are no other concerns here in terms of terrain or other stuff. Military airways are south of us or west of us, which is good. Well, we got the delta airspace here of Meadows, but we can just extend our crosswind leg here, go to the Highway 5, and then go upwards to Lost Hills. So there's not really a concern for us to fly that high up. So I would say about 2,000 to 2,500 feet. We can also enjoy the scenery a bit better. And perhaps also in terms of visibility, it makes sense to stay more close to the ground. So 2,500, the same goes for Lost Hills to Delano. So let's put that in. Where are we? We are here. 2,500. Alternate airport. Well, what's all alternate? Doesn't really. Well, let's do Lost Hills there. So that's Lima 84. Thank you for following, TN Garner. Thank you. That's encouraging. Lima 84. Route of flight doesn't really concern us. Remarks, touching. I don't know what you can which should put here, I guess, anything. Touch and go at Lima 84. That's about right, I guess. Delano, file flight plan. Successfully filed. No one will see it, but it's just for our own enjoyment. Okie doke. Then we have completed our briefing. So that is what we're going to do. Fly a course of 284. Well, we're not going to really fly that course. I would like to use PilotEdge first. That's also, let me see my flight plan. I would like to remove this leg. More fun. So we're going to take off to the west, already getting to 2,500 feet. So that's a crosswind departure, staying below the Meadows Delta. Then we find that highway again and then move upwards. If we cannot spot the highway, then we do a return flight to Bakersfield, a 180 turn, because we need some visual reference. And if the visibility is too bad, well, bad luck, we need to return. That's what it is. So, and then we're going to just follow the I-5 until we see Lost Hills on the left of that highway. Tune in 122.9 and let me see, there's a right pattern for runway 33, so that means chances are that we're gonna land on 33. So that, oh sorry, that's going to be that direction from down to up. So that's a right, so that goes like this. So what we can do is we're not going to do a straight in, but let's practice that 45 degree entry on that right downwind leg. And then we land on Lost Hills, do a couple of more traffic patterns there, right-handed, which is good practice. And then we take off again, we tune into Shafter. So we're going direct to Shafter, but in the nav2, we put in Tulle and set the inbound radial to 030. I guess that's about the right angle. Or even a bit more, 040. No, 030. And until we catch that one, we make turn to Tulle until we find Delano and land there. Right pattern for 14. That's the other way around. Let's just land from, I mean, there are no winds. We'll listen to ATIS. Well, their winds are calm. 120 at 4. So let's pick the longer runway there, and that would just be a left-hand pattern, so that would be a 45 degree again, I guess, on that leg, and downwind and then land, and that's about it. And we stay at Delano for our next episode. Seems about right. That's going to be our flight, so let's get flying then. Here we are. Well, as you can see, a quick look at the weather. You not see that many clouds, which makes sense, but the visibility is, well, not that great. You can see the trees already in the distance fading away. Yeah, let me sit here. Okay, let's do our cold and dark checks. Let me center first. Here we are. Now I'm first going to remove the pitot tube cover. And I will also remove the tie downs and wheel chocks. And yeah, they are removed right now, so that's good. Okay. Control wheel lock. Please remove. They are removed. Parking brakes are set. Lifers, we have fire extinguisher room. Window is open. ELT is set to auto. Cabin air is open. The rest is off. Flaps are up. Levers are correct. To the left is okay for now. Is closed. Takeoff, that's good. Static air is out, or is off, I should say. Standby, which is good. Avionics are off. Let me check. Avionics are off. Lights are off. Like a beacon, off. And radios were already on. We already checked. Okay, that's cold and dark. Let's put on the batteries now. Let's turn on the landing lights. Oh, I need to put on that light on my Saitek panel here, because otherwise I cannot read the switches. The landing lights on, taxi lights on, strobe lights on, nav lights on, beacon was already on, and pitot heat on. Then we move outside, have a look if they are actually working. Whoop. Taxi light work, landing lights work, navigation lights, strobe lights work, navigation here, strobe light work too, beacon lights, they work too. At the tail end, position lights work. Then we've got the stall warning sound, it works. And then finally the pitot tube and it's heated, so that works too. Back into the cockpit. We can turn off the lights, landing lights, taxi lights, strobe light, nav light, and pitot heat is off. We can move on with the avionics. Beep. We can see that the radio lights were still on, so I thought or is that that button? I don't know which one it is. Yeah, that one it was. These are different knobs here. There, you can turn this one, the black area, and the white area, so that's confusing. Okay, we can pull down our flaps, have a look if they come down in sync. They do. So standby 1200 is good, this is all set. Annunciator panel check, they don't show low fuel, so that's good. Pitch trim is good. We will set this to altimeter, that's all what we're going to do later on. Fuel we have an indication of, which is good. And we can turn off the avionics and the battery, and we can do our exterior pre-flight inspection. So let's do that. Hop outside. Baggage door. It is closed. Tail end tie down is removed. Bolts are in. Everything looks fine. Bolts look in. Everything looks fine. This looks fine too. Wiggle of the trim tab is correct. Flaps. Wiggle. There's a wiggle. Hinges look good. Ailerons, they look good too. Well, they are free. Tie down removed. Fuel vent is clear. Chocks removed. Drain, no contamination, good color. Here we can look at the gallons. Confirms our reading earlier in the cockpit. We can very briefly get a more overall look of the airplane, looking at the antennas here. Nav, calm, windshield looks all good. Just simulating the fact that it can actually be damaged in flight sim. Obviously it is not, but I just like to incorporate these checks. Static air is clear. Fuel drain here on the belly of the airport at the engine nose looks good. We can look at the strut here, the exhaust and the cowl flaps. I should open just to make sure that they are clear. Well, they are. And well, we can check the antennas, but I believe that that is okay. Leading edge, oh sorry, leading edge of the propeller, no dents, no other stuff, looks good. Intakes, they are clear, no bird's nest or other stuff. Air filter is okay. Oil temperature between 9 and 6 quarts, good color, which is okay. And gallons on the right, on the left wing is okay. Fuel drain, good color, no contamination. Chocks removed on the other side. Tie down removed, stowing already checked. Fuel vent is clear. Ailerons on this side. Hinges look good. Connecting rod looks good too. Wiggle. And the hinges of the flaps look good too. That completes our exterior pre-flight, guys. Okay. There we are. What I would like to do then is also do a flight control test. Aileron looks good. Other side goes down too. And here elevators work good and the rudder works good too. Awesome. That completes our exterior pre-flight, so no reason to visit the maintenance hangar. So what we can do now is fasten our seat belts. And as you know, I've got real ones on my office chair here, which transcends my office chair to a piloting command seat. At least in my imaginary world. Got those on. We can close the door. Click. Thank you. Closed. That's good. And we can do our briefing. So again, once more, very quickly, what we're going to do, we're going to depart from Bakersfield, left-hand traffic, crosswind departure. We go to the west until we reach that highway. We hope we see that in this low visibility. If we don't, we return to Bakersfield. Otherwise, we continue northbound on that highway. We tune into 122.9, also for Elk Hills, if there's any other traffic there, but also for 122.9 for Lost Hills, which is our first destination airport. Also, we've got rivers flowing along with us, so there's a lot of PilotEdge references here that we can use. Lost Hills is a right pattern for 3-3, so that means that we need to stay on the right side of the highway. then fly a little bit further, and then make that turn to make a 45-degree entry on that right pattern and land and, well, do a traffic pattern or two on Lost Hills. Then once we do that, we depart heading heading Meadows, and yeah, and get this this inbound radial up to Delano. That's what we're going to do. Altitude about 2,500, hoping that the ceiling is okay. That's about it, I think. Okay, that completes that. So let me check my brakes if they are firm. Parking brakes released, differential braking, it works and they are firm, which is good. Lights are on, beacon is on, and our fuel tank selector can be set to both, and our cowl flaps can go open. And that completes our before engine start. Let's do our engine start. Batteries are now on. The throttle to 1/4 inch open, and on the mixture, let's prime our engine. 1, 2, 3, cut off, fuel pump off, and now we can start the engine. Make sure our propeller area is clear. It is. Parking brakes are set. Is set. Clear prop. And there she goes. 1200 RPM. Let's look at our oil pressure coming up within 30 seconds into the green. Looks great. Generator on, spike that ammeter. Then we can turn on the avionics, bleep again, and retract our flaps. We can set our transponder to on because we're about to fly, and we can listen to ADIS here on Bakersfield to get the altimeter.
Airport information, uniform 1742 Zulu. 106 at warp, visibility 3, sky conditions
3.
Clouds at 1,300.
1,300.
Dew point 5, altimeter 3037, ILS, runway 30, right and visual, runway
3037. Yeah.
Landing and departing, runway 30, right and
Yeah, so that corresponds with the airport elevation. My gosh, cloud ceiling at 130. Oh, no, that's 13,000. Sorry, it's not 01. Yeah, I guess. Starting to doubt here. Let me listen again. Sorry guys, that's why I should write this down.
1742 Zulu, wind 106 at warp, visibility 3, sky conditions, few clouds at 1,300, temperature 8.
1,300, so that's 1,300. Yeah, that's not really good, but it was few, so that means that we can, below 1,200, we are in G airspace. At Bakersfield here, so we can just remain clear of clouds, and I think that will be fine to get away and depart here from Bakersfield, so that's fine. But still, marginal VFR like. I mean, if you're here visibility 3, that's not a good thing. Although we know at the forecast that it's going to improve, but I'm just curious to see how that feels like. So we are legal to fly, so let's do that. If it's got less than 3, then we are not. Engine is warming up. We can set our navigation radios because we've got that VOR stuff going on. So what are those? First one is going to be Shafter, so that's 115.4. We've already got that tuned in, as you can see. And the second one was the Chule, which is on 109.2. 109.2, and that is set. Oh no, I'm not doing that right, because we don't need to set that on the nav 1 because we're gonna triangulate. So we need to put that on nav 2. 09.2, right guys? Yeah, we can already set that in, and we can also already set that inbound radial, which is going to be about 03. And we can also set that for the nav 1 because we already know what kind of course we're going to get when we depart from Lost Hills. Because it's going to be 248 minus 180. So that's going to be about... Is that, no, that's no, I'm not saying that correctly. It's the 269er, yeah. So that's 09, about 09 inbound. So about this. Okay, altimeter is set. I've cross-checked the heading indicator with the compass, so that reads out. And altimeter, we got heading bug, we got engine is warming up, it's still not that warm. You can see cylinder temperature is about in the green. Oil temperature needs some more time, but will warm up as we taxi to the runway. Did our checks, lights are good, we're ready to go. So let's release our parking brakes. I can reset our comms. I can set my comm 2. That's what I've got. 1 to 2.9. 1 to 2.9. Because we're going to flip that as soon as we leave the Bakersfield area. And we need another ADIS. Just going to very quickly look at the charts. Is there some other ADIS that we can look for? Yeah, obviously. The AWAS of Delano. Yeah, so that's 119.55. Whoop. 119. Gosh. 55. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. So we can switch that to. We can already switch that actually. So en route we can listen to ADIS and see what the weather is doing. Now we are ready. We can set this one to temperature because this is getting, if we are through clouds or visibility, that might lead to icing. And we can set this to universal time because we just can. TrackIR enabled. Let's taxi to runway 34. So parking brakes released. First thing I'm going to do is taxi check. So brake. Brakes are working. Let's make the turn here to the right. And let's see the slip indicator. Turn indicator, they are working in the right order. Not going that quick. A little bit too fast here taxiing. This is sloppy. There we go. Good fuel, instruments look good. Heading bug we can set to, well, that's fine. It's just runway heading. Just fly crosswind leg until we hit that highway. Altimeter was set, frequencies we set, ADIS we set, or our second ADIS. Our nav radios we set, 115.4 and 109. Yeah. Which is good. Set that RPM to about 950 or so to get a more constant taxi speed. So far so good. Well, we can see some few clouds faintly. So some higher clouds that are much more higher. So far so good. Oh, that's what we forgot. Yeah, that's bad of me. We didn't lean. That's not a good thing, because that might lead to foul plugs, and we might notice in the run-up soon. Yeah, so again, that's why you need to verify your flows using the checklist. Although I'm noticing that it's very nice to do this all by heart. Also, the items to me start to become, well, or the flows do make sense. So I know that before taxi I need to have checked off several items just by heart, because just of the inner logic of the checks. But still, you can forget about something like leaning the mixture, which is not good. So that makes let's make damn sure that in the run-up at our power check we don't see any stuff going on with our magnetos. Okay, let's see run-up area. far end. Allow for spacing for others that might fly here. So let's point it down this direction. Park and brake set. Mixture full. Are we warm? Our oil temperature is about in the green, so that's okay. Before we do, I'm gonna close my windows. Seatbelts are all set. Fuel tank is good. Cowl flaps are open. Okay, let's go to 1800. Here it goes. I can already hear something bad is going on. Let's see if we've got any unenunciated messages here. No, everything looks stable, which is good. Left magneto. Aha, there you see, guys, if you don't lean, your aircraft gets mean. Then the right is better. So we've got left valve plugs on the left. So what we do is we go to 2000 RPM. Keep those magnetos on both and now lean until we see that the engine becomes rough. About there. Perhaps a bit more. A bit more. Just on the edge. And keep it there for 20 seconds. Now the engine becomes, or the cylinders become much more heated. So we need to keep an eye on that, out on that cylinder head temperature, so that the fouling on the plugs is now getting vaporized or something like that. Melts away. I don't know what happens. I guess vaporized. I can already spot some improvement in the RPM there. You can hear it. A little bit more rough, perhaps. Just give it a second or two. No other traffic on the CTAF, so no one on radio. I was thinking that perhaps those windsocks are not showing real weather direction and strength, because I didn't set my special effects to far. I don't know for sure. Mixture full in. There we are again at 2000. Now we're gonna go back, reset to 1800 and do those magneto checks again. Let's see if we solved something. So left. Yeah! Stable. Both is good. And right is good too. Okay, then we can check the propeller. Now we can check the landing lights, see if the generator is working. Boop. Yeah, it is working. Landing lights off. No, not the mixture. The propeller cycle. RPM looks good. Manifold slightly rises. That's a good sign. And finally, the oil temperature, oil pressure, and it resets. Okay, cool. That is working too. And finally, the throttle stop, going full idle. Again, oil pressure is still there. Everything looks stable. No enunciated messages. Primary instruments, everything looks good. Reset to 1000. Keep that mixture in because we're about to depart. So that's good. Windows are closed. Seatbelts are on. Let's set our transponder to altitude. We've got the CTAF on. Altimeter is set. We've cross-checked the heading indicator, which is about right. This is our briefing. We're going to depart here, runway heading, then crosswind leg, head over to that highway, and then move upwards until we find Lost Hills on the left side. 2,500 altitude, and keep an eye on that visibility. If we cannot spot the highway, we will return. That's return to Bakersfield. That is. Some sip of water. Thirsty. We don't need to set any flaps. Let's check our trim, which is good. And flight control check. We need to do one more time. So, sorry, other side. Yeah, that's the elevator on that side. That's the elevator on that side. Down. And that was working. And rudder works too. So those deflections are correct. Now we are ready to go. What we can do now, before I turn on my landing lights and strobe lights, is a 360 turn to make sure visually that no one else is in the pattern. Let's have a look. A little bit more power here because this differential braking Need some power. There are those few clouds, which is okay. No one in the pattern. Cool. Landing lights on, strobe lights on. Let's head over there. No one is on final. Bakersfield traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is departing runway 34 for a left-hand crosswind departure to 2,500 feet. Bakersfield. Okay, getting aligned with that runway first before I apply full throttle. Making very sure that you don't need to apply that much. Let me see. Now this is about right. So full throttle. A little bit of right rudder as we increase our throttle. Airspeed is live. Engine looks good. Full throttle. 40, 50, and 60. Rotates. And there she goes. A little bit of right rudder there. VY is 80. So there we are. And pull up that nose. There we go. Traffic pattern altitude is 1400, so through minus 300 is 1100 for our crosswind turn. A little bit too steep here. Let's have a look if we see anyone. Wow, have a look at this 3 statute miles visibility, guys. Well, let's make that turn. Oh my gosh. I think we will not see that highway. And then the next question becomes, will we spot our Bakersfield when we return? So I'm going to keep on this, keep on climbing to get to that 2,500 setting. Bakersfield traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is departing Bakersfield traffic area to the west, climbing to 2,500 feet Bakersfield. Let's get out of that full power setting, so I'm going to put a bit nose down, get my manifold pressure in the green, like so, about 23, get my prop a bit more relaxed, like so, and just lean a bit already. I need to push on that yoke, so I need to release my pressure by trimming nose down a bit, which is good. I'll keep my landing lights on for just a moment because guys, are we going to do this? This is low visibility, my gosh. There we are, coming up to 2,500. So let's level off a bit. So the airspeed will now increase. And we can set our manifold to about 19. Which is good. EGT is nice and high up. Okay. Again, keeping an eye out on that highway. It will take a few miles before we spot it. Trimming nose down, trimming nose down. Speed is coming up. Again, we can reduce our manifold. Here we are. Still on Bakersfield. The Bakersfield area. Yeah, so looking at the chart to see where elk is. Yeah, so we can already tune into elk about now. Let's wait until we see the highway. Good trimming. I mean, not doing anything, which is good. Well, that's about the edge of Bakersfield City. So we need to fly a little bit more further west until we spot that highway. Engine is looking good. Cylinder head temperature is good. We can close our cowl flaps. We set our throttle, prop, trim is all set. Radios are set. cross-check that compass. Looks good. So that kind of completes our cruise. I'm still leaving my landing lights on. Also read that in the early days, or I guess it was the early days, airplanes didn't have LED lights in their landing and taxi lights, and so they were quite conservative with using those landing lights. Nowadays with LED lights, that's a different story. But in those days you could say, well, I'm not going to turn off my landing lights and turn on my taxi lights instead. Yeah, but I'm just going to turn off both. So strobe lights are still on and beacon light is on. So we left Bakersfield city center or borderline here. Border. Let's look for that highway, Highway 5. Well, that looks like a highway, but we expected to see it in front of us, not to our side. So I guess our visibility is limited to our side views here, because over the glare shield you don't see a thing. So that is 3 statute miles for you. Let's listen to ATIS once more. Meadows.
Kilo, Delta, Lima, Oscar, automated weather observation 1802 Zulu. Wind 118 at 3.
Okay.
Visibility 8.
8.
Sky condition clear. Temperature 7 Celsius. Dew point 5 Celsius. Altimeter 3036.
It's good.
Kilo, Delta, Lima.
Okay, so visibility is improving as we expected, looking at the forecast. So Active Sky Next is doing his job. Now I'm getting a bit, not anxious, but focused on that runway, highway. We should spot it right now. Again, I've showed you guys in the previous episodes that I don't have a realistic sense of distance looking at charts, so perhaps that highway is much more further away from Bakersfield than I initially thought. We're just about here or so. So we need to cover that distance twice until we come even close to the highway. There's traffic in front of us. Well, what is that traffic? Where is it going to? Looking at the sectional. Yeah, I guess that traffic, which is drone traffic, I believe, is flying here from Meadows on this airway. That's what I believe. Again, that's why I don't get why you should fly on airways, because chances are most other people will fly there, so avoid them. I'm also really enjoying the fact that I'm really nicely trimmed my airplane. I mean, I'm really not doing anything. So a good setting, prop setting is good. Fuel flow is good, manifold pressure is good. You can also hear the sound of the engine. It just feels relaxed. It's a living, breathing animal almost. Temperatures are good. Loving it. Again, going to the west. Well, there's no way that we could skip that highway. It's coming from the south. It's running from the south to the north. I can already spot it, guys. There it is. Very faintly. So that's going to be our PilotEdge reference point, and we need to stay to the east side of it, because that Lost Hills will be on the left. So now is a good time to switch CTAFs to Lost Hills 1 to 2.9. If there is any traffic there, we can make our announcement soon that we're going to pass the airport, in case anyone is there. So let's make that turn to the north. No other traffic there. We can see some clouds in the distance. Keeping that nose a bit up. Up, 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 up. There's the highway. This is so cool, guys. I'm loving Flight Sim. And also liking the technical bit of it. There's the highway. Steered a little bit too much away from it. But I would like to have it here on my left window, because I cannot see over the glare shield. And there we go. Elk Hills, that's what I mean, yeah. Let's do an announcement here. Elk Hills traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is about 10 miles east of the airport, flying at 2,500 feet. We're following the I-5 up north. Big Elk Hills traffic, I would say. A bit sloppy. I should think first and then talk. And not think while I'm chatting. Again, nicely on altitude. We have cloud clearance, I think. If we look to the front, you can see some cloud coverage here. Loving soft clouds, Rex. I'm using Rex 4 texture, but also soft clouds, and you can get these wonderful hazy-like realistic cloud settings. Also added some dust sparkles here on my windshield from episode 1 already, but you can really see them now. As if our skyline was already properly used. Following along the Highway 5. Highways are great as PilotEdge reference points because you can just follow them. It's not just one particular point, but it's looking good. Let's see if we can already get the ATIS of Delano.
Kilo, Delta, Lima, Oscar, automated weather observation 1807 Zulu. Wind 160 at 3.
Good.
Visibility 8.
Good.
Sky condition clear.
Good.
Temperature 8 Celsius.
Looking good.
6 Celsius. Altimeter 3037.
Same altimeter setting. Cool. Okay. Seems VFR to me. So we should fly into more VFR or VMC in just a while. Actually, I think it is already happening. I can already see a little bit further along. Loving these textures. ORBX, Southern California. ORBX just released the a new airfield for Southern California. It's Lima 70. Aguadunca or something like that. It looked nice. Uncontrolled airport. Steering a bit to the right here, so a little bit more north because I would like to get that highway inside. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, but I'm not. I was considering getting that that airport, or was it Foxtrot 70? I don't know for sure. But it looked very cute. I'm really looking for John Wayne by ORBX, dedicated airport scenery and that other stuff, the most busy airports in the PilotEdge coverage area. Because that's the goal. My home airport, John Wayne, in flight sim terms. That's the airspace that I would like to fly most in, because it's mostly congested now. The visibility is getting worse. Uh-oh. Got me worried there. Looks good. And looking by ATIS, we should go into VFR or VMC. Again, clouds look cool or look great. Cloud ceiling is about our level. Perhaps that's at 1300. But this might be a window of us to fly through. You can see now the I-5 going all the way up north. Again, greatly trimmed. This is autopilot. I was always mentioning in the previous episodes that I wasn't planning to use autopilot, but in a way, I am. Okay, check our engine. Cylinder head temperature looks good. EGT, well, perhaps we can make it a little more hot there. So let's set that needle as a reference point. Hello? Yeah. So, let's see if we can get the white needle above it. Weather is improving! Now this is helpful. Again guys, I'm loving the fact that these weather briefings work. Don't you? I mean, this is so cool that you can actually do actual weather briefings and see how it works in Flight Sim. I think that's very educational and fun to do. Really gives context and much more depth to your Flight Sim flights. Thank you, Stephen. Nice job trimming. Yeah. Yeah, it's very comfortable. Seems like the Skylane is pretty comfortable with it too. Steady, stable configuration. Ah, we already increased the EGT a bit. As you can see, the needle, the white needle is above that orange one. Perhaps we can even get it more rich of peak. Because the higher you get it, the more economical you fly, which is always good. It's also, I don't know if it's also better for the engine. I guess so. But there are various configurations here. Let me check. Yep, let me check. There are several ones. Recommended lean, yeah, best economy and best power. And best power is 125 degrees rich of EGT peak. Then you have best power, but economical is rich of EGT peak. Yeah. Okay, we've got a visual reference point to the left. There's a lake there, or a reservoir, or whatever it is. So let's see if we can cross-check our position. Click. A lake to the left. Well, there are a lot of rivers here. We're not here. That's obvious. We flew to this side and then went upwards. I don't see a lake. I see one here, but it's on the right side. Did we overflew it? No, there's no such thing there. We can always use a VNL as a VOR radio beacon to get an idea of where we are, but I guess it's part of this area. Do we see a lot of rivers? No, not really. Again, I guess also that this is why ORBX is not really truly photorealistic scenery. In that respect, I love blue sky scenery, which is freely available to any flight sim, any FSX or prepared pilot, even for X-Plane perhaps. Blue sky is full realistic Google Earth-like textures. The only problem is that then the autogen is not generated on top of that, so it's a little bit, well, you don't get the cozy airports, at least not in my setup, but you do have very highly detailed and realistic textures going on, which is very good for PilotEdge, obviously. But that's a lake or something that I didn't spot on the... Let me check myself again. No, there's just these lakes. Eventually the I-5 will bend a bit to the right. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong button, guys. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Well, nothing. Well, there's a bend here to the right. You see some autogen to the left, and we start to see some rivers and aqueducts here, as they are called on the map. Some other spots here, which is good. No other traffic. I think we're still good. Again. Looks good. Looks good. But we might already be in the vicinity of Lost Hills. There goes the bend to the right. You can also see here a river crosses the highway, or undergoes goes below, underneath the highway. which we also see on the map. There's a follower, Jelloy. Thank you for following. Welcome on board. Hope you enjoy. You can see here and here. So that means we're pretty close to Lost Hills. So to make sure to be safe, let's keep on the right a bit, so we're not too close to Lost Hills, in case we don't spot it and overfly it. So keeping a little bit more to the right. Let's have a view to the left to see if we can spot Lost Hills. It could be somewhere over here. Yeah, here it goes underneath the highway. Descended a bit, not that important, but still. Wouldn't surprise me if it's this. Well, it should be, the runway should be along the direction of, oh, there it is. There's Lost Hills. Wow. Okay. 122.9, and we're on the east side of it, about 8 miles. Okay. Let me see. Lost Hills traffic, Skyname Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is about 5 miles east of the airport at 2200. We're inbound for a few touch and goes. We'll enter the 45-degree right-hand downwind for runway 33. Lost Hills. Okay, so what we're going to do is descend. What would be our descent? Or change view, sorry guys. Switch, it is 274. There is the airport, in case you missed it. There it is. So we're going to descend now. Traffic pattern altitude is 274, so that's 1200 or 1300. So we need to descend for 1000. And then we're going to make a left turn and enter that 45 degree. What we can do is, let me see, turn on our landing lights. Our strobe lights are still on. Altimeter is still set. We clean up our mixture and prop in just a bit. I like to keep lean as long as possible. Man, I'm thirsty. Okay. Make sure that everything is clear. Keeping that descent. 1400 was it, right? 1300. Oh, that's a much too steep descent. There is Lost Hills. Let's set our heading bug. It was 3-3. This is a more shallow entry. It's not a 45 degree. This is about a 20 degree. So there we are. Let's keep on altitude. Make sure no one is here. Fuel prop. Mixture full. That's okay. Can already set 1 notch of flaps and get to that 90 knot downwind speed that we should be at. We're now entering the downwind already. Perhaps we should make that announcement. Lost Hills traffic, Skyname Papa Hotel Tango Mike is entering the right downwind, runway 33 for a few touch and goes. Lost Hills. Yeah, so I flew too close to the airport. Because we're already now on the downwind. Okay, we're leaned, trim. We can reset a bit. So I need to push down on my yoke here, so that my yoke is not that sensitive. When we do our touchdown, a little bit more, like so. Parallel to the runway. A little bit weird doing a right-hand traffic pattern here. Very very small, cute one. We're already descending, which is not that bad, by the way, because we could already. It's part of the downwind leg. Everything is set. Good. There's highway 5 to the left of us. Well, we're already on the speed of the base leg. Well, let's do that. Let's turn to base. Lost Hills traffic. Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning right base. Runway 3348 touching go. Lost Hills. Okay, looking at that heading bug right now. Getting a descent going. 80 knots. Looking outside. There's base. Another notch of flaps. Keep that speed on 80. Push on that yoke. $70. I'm a little bit too high, so I'm reducing speed and trying to moderate or control. Lost Hills traffic. Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is turning final. Runway 3348 touching go. Lost Hills. Still a bit too high. Far too high actually. So I'm going to use some forward slip here. To the right rudder. While using a left aileron. So we kick our ass into the wind. So we can descend while maintaining speed, which is still too high. Getting close to a go around here. Full flaps. No, I'm going to make this one. Part as a kind of an emergency procedure. Okay, moving away that forward slip. Okay. There we go, 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 there we go. Not that bad. It was smooth. Flaps up. And full throttle again because the end of the runway is getting near. The sky lane is so powerful. Have a look. Whoa, we're already at rotation. 60. There we go. Not pitching too much nose up because we need to get that speed going. There we are, VY. So at 1,000 we need to make our right crosswind turn. Should have opened now my cowl flaps because we're in more power, full power on setting. Nice autogen here. Looks nice and cute. There's 1,000. No traffic. Shallow turn bank. Keep up that nose. There goes the heading bug. We're reaching traffic pattern altitude. There we are. This is weird, a right-hand traffic pattern. There we are. Let's turn. Which is okay, and let's keep on that turn to keep the traffic pattern nice and tight. Lost Hills traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is turning the right downwind, runway 3348 touching go, Lost Hills. There's downwind. Little less power here. Not going that fast. Cool. Where are we? There's the runway. Okay, I was looking for the runway. Where was the airport? I mean, we're perhaps a bit too close right now. But this seems as an emergency kind of distance. This seems reasonable. If I now would have an engine out, which we're going to practice. Yeah, interesting. One notch of flaps. Push down on the yoke. Now let's see if we can make that approach more shallow, because the previous one was a bit too a little bit too high angle. I mean, still we're high up. So get that descent already going. No other traffic in the area. I guess after this one we just depart to what is it called already? No, Delta Lima Oscar, but I don't know what the name was of the airport. Let's make our turn. Lost Hills traffic, scanning Papa Hotel Tango Mike is turning right base, runway 33 for a touch and go. Lost Hills. Wanted to say lost traffic. Lost traffic. There we are. Extended our downwind, I guess, a bit too far. A bit too much. Second notch of flaps. Push on that yoke. 80 is nice. Let's make that turn. Lost Hills traffic, scanning Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is turning final runway 33 for a touch and go. Lost Hills. Now, throttle back. This is better. Kind of like an airliner final approach here. So far away, but still. Enough time to get us slowed down. Please. Not getting too low. Another notch of flaps. There's a drop. Okay, get on that center line. Picture the end of the runway, Tim. End of the runway. There she goes. Throttle back. That was nasty. Center that first. There we are. Flaps up. No, that wasn't that pretty. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't that pretty. And full throttle. 40, 50, and 60. Rotate. Right rudder. Up. Allow the airspeed to increase first. And there we go. VY. Okay, so let's depart on the right crosswind leg. Head up again to 2,500 or 2,000, which would be fine. It's not that long of a flight. To our next destination airport. Still, this is cool, guys. Sightseeing around the Bakersfield area. Feeling I'm in control of the airplane, which is good. Let's make that shallow turn. Lost Hills traffic, scanning Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is turning the right crosswind leg and will depart the traffic area to the east to about 2,000 feet. Lost Hills. There's our crosswind leg. Good. Now let's push down the nose a bit and get to a climb setting. So manifold pressure into the green, about 23. There it is. Keeps level. Whoa. Get that prop to sound more nicely. 2100. This is good. Whoa, this is much too nose up. A little bit of trim here. Good, allow the airspeed to increase, leaning a bit. Great. Now, the nav we already set. What's our... It's about... Well, let's pick this one. Let's pick that radial. Turn off the landing lights. And let's close the cowl flaps. There's 200. We can go to 19 manifold. Let's pick up that radial. Let me see. bit too fast. Guys, I will look at chat in just a sec. Let me trim a little bit less. What's our RPM is good. That's good. Oh, I'm still having some right rudder in, which isn't necessary. There goes our radial. Yeah. So I'm really going to fly a little bit more to the east. And then we wait until this needle gets to that 0 point, because then we know we are on the 03 radial inbound to, what is it called? Chile. And that's the whole idea. Well, this is level again, guys. There's the 090 inbound to Meadows, or it's called Shafter. Still a bit to the left of it, so we need to stay right. Let me see. Tim, you're sitting too low and too close from the instruments. Well, this is not a Skyhawk, this is a Skylane, and the Skylane is well, the bigger brother of the Skyhawk. So I'm not really sure how high up I should sit. I should see a bit of the cowling there, which is the case. So yeah, I already got some comments by you guys in some previous episodes, so I already heightened my seat. But I don't know for sure how high. I think this is fine. Still keeping a bit to the right, a tad to the right. But we can also say, let's get to the exact east. Or this is not exact. Well, about so. So what we're doing now, guys, is this is Lost Hills. And now just taking off, going that direction, picking up that Shafter radial. So we're now going that direction until we pick up the 03 radial inbound to Chile, which is going to be about here. And then we're going to fly that radial, and that will lead us to Delano. That's what it was called. Delano. And then traffic compared to others, 1300, 14. We're not going to do 14. What are the different runways here? We've got 14 and 32. Okay, so that's 32. Let me go back. 32. Back. You're making your life much more difficult like this. Yeah. Yeah, I should actually just go to an airport and sit in a Skylane. Oh, there's the radial coming. The 03 radial. Should be aware. Can already set the heading bug to 3.2. I know I'm getting my life more difficult, but perhaps also more realistic in a Skylane, because then you would sit. I mean, the Skylane is a big engine. It's really different than the Skyhawk, but I don't know in real life if I would sit even more high up than this. I don't think so. I don't know. Still, good engine management, high EGT, good oil temperature, thermometer set, which is good. What's the 1 to 2.8, let's tune into already Delano, and we can already listen to, or another time, listen to ADIS of Delano.
Kilo, Delta, Lima, Oscar, automated weather observation, 1835 Zulu, wind 161 at 4, visibility 8, sky condition clear, temperature 8 Celsius,
Great.
dew point 6 Celsius, altimeter 3037 Kilo, Delta, Lima, Oscar, automated weather observation.
We are ready to go. Well, let's pull on the yoke bit. And turning, you lose altitude. So you can see in F2, we're on that radial, 03 radial. 030 radial. Nice scenery here. I've passed it. Tim, come on. Luckily, the radio wouldn't be that sensitive, but I was not paying attention. There we are. So now we need to look out for that Delano airport. We're gonna cross Wasco Kern first. We should be a bit on the right here. Did we already pass it? No, not yet. A little bit nose up here. Jessica, you are doing a really great job, but with a few tips you could really improve a lot. Well, come on, give me those tips. I would love you guys to share or send me emails or stuff that I can improve of. So this is not at all a demonstration of showing how this stuff is done. This is just a narrative of my own training, and obviously I need to learn a lot. Need to keep on track here. So any tips of you, please let me know. And if you like what you see, follow, guys. Hit that follow button and you get an email notification. Also, you're letting me know that you're loving the channel, which is very encouraging. And if you're really enjoying the channel, you could donate any small amount that helps me to pay for my flight tickets to get to Flight SimCon 2016 in June to meet all the developers. I would love to and make a vlog, and anyone who donates can send in a question, and I will ask your question or pose your question to your favorite developers, which might be very cool. So let me know. Again, 030 radial. I'm seeing a river here. Let's see if we can spot that too on the map. Yep, that's this one, I guess. So then that means that to the right of us and Cashin and, well, that Wasco we should already be able to spot. There it is. So that is Wasco, and then to the left of us we should see that other airport. It would have been more cool or much better if I did an announcement on 122.8 for Wasco saying, hey guys, we are flying across the northern part of your airport. But that means that we are coming up to a highway. I can already I mean, Delano is here on a big highway. So that will be a sign that we need to find it somewhere here, Delano. And let me see, I need to stay on track here. Let me see. 1-4 is right paying, so it's left heading pattern, so I would like to enter the 45-degree here. Downwind, left downwind, and enter and land on 3-3. Or 3, what was it? 3-2. Again, let's check. No highway in sight still. Runway 14, runway 32. There's some arrivals here, but we're just doing a visual approach. 3-2. Switch back. BB Powder Tim, can you make your YouTube videos 1080p? Well, sorry, no, my internet is not that fast to allow me to upload 1080. So 720 is the best I got. Sorry. Ba bum bum ba dum bum. Some clouds there. Where is that highway? I mean, there is a road here beneath us. Or it isn't a road, but it's a railroad. Because there's also a railroad here coming down. Guess we're passing that. A railroad. Again, in X-Plane you would see a train here. I mean, X-Plane has advantages. This is P3D. I love that scenery of X-Plane, but I don't at all love their flight dynamics. They're really promoting that they have realistic flight dynamics, but even Coronado planes that I've flown is just arcade-like. No, a really bad experience. And I also love the realism by A2A. Real proper engine management. I mean, you should, for fun's sake, just lean that default stock Cessna in the X-Plane. I mean, you'll laugh your ass off. There's the city, which also corresponds to the map. Right here, city, rail, and highway, also a railroad, I guess. There's also a railroad here. Again, I'm getting the hang and the benefits of using PilotEdge in combination with radio navigation, as it should be, which is cool. I mean, that stuff works. Now, is the question, where is Delano? Oh, my headset is really pushing on my ears. Well, we're a bit off on that radial. I can see traffic, multiple traffic. What I'm going to do is descend, because probably this is that, here's that highway over here. This is that city. Let me check. And that traffic is doing other stuff. Oh, there it is. Look, my gosh. I should have looked more out of the window. That's not a good one. Something I need to practice more using my 180 view, 60-degree view. I don't know what it's called. And what the error was that I moved off of the 030 radial and moved too much up north. So I was expecting to see the airport on the left side, as I would have seen it on the 030 radial. But then if I didn't stick to the radial, then I got messed up. So there's one landing there. They're landing on the opposite direction, and this is drone traffic. There's also another aircraft joining him. So that means we need to change our plans and also come into the 1-4, which is a right-hand traffic, as we already saw here. This is a right pattern 1-4. So that is what we're going to do, and we need to blend in with that drone traffic, which is going to be because that drone traffic will not take into account our arrival. What's the frequency? 1 to 2.8, so 1 to 2.8, and that is Delano, right? Yeah, Delano. 3 miles. 3 miles southwest. Delano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango Unia Bike is about 3 miles southwest of the airport at 1700. We're going inbound for the 45 right-hand downwind leg for a full stop for runway 14, Delano. Hoping that made sense. What's the elevation? 3-1. Yeah, so it's the traffic pattern is 1300. So let's get that descent going. Landing lights on, strobe lights were already on. Still got leaned, which is good. Let's have a look. There's the runway. Let's reduce speed already. And let's have a look at that other traffic, because I don't want to fly into other drone traffic. This is a much nicer 45 degree than before. And Delano looks nice. It has some scenery there. Let's do some nose up trim. Get to that takeoff and landing setting. There we are. 1 notch of flaps. Push on that yoke. Still a bit shallow entry. It's not really 45, but there we are. No other traffic around. Still a little bit further on until we go on downwind. 1-4. 14. Delano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike is on the right downwind, runway 14 for a full stop. Delano. Oh. 1300, and on the downwind leg. A little bit more power there. Really pushing down on the yoke. Yeah, this is a nice distance. Nice ramp. So we need to depart on the right side. Nice. Nice and cute airport. Again, I don't see any other traffic there, so I guess those guys landed. They're not on CTEF, so they must be drone. We're descending already a bit, which is fine. But not too much. And we're a bit too slow. Should keep that 90 in. This is base leg speed. I also noticed that in the Lost Hills scenario. So I need to keep my downwind speeds spot on, which they aren't. Okay, better. Okay, well, let's make that turn. Delano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike is making the right base for runway 14, full stop, Delano. There we go, keeping that nose down. There's the heading bug. Speed out. Oh, overflew that one a bit. 4 whites, puppy lights. Not a notch of flaps. No other traffic here. No. Watch that speed. Delano traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike is turning final, runway 14, full stop, Delano. Should have increased the speed, not by pushing in the throttle, but by pointing down. You can see the drone traffic here, and doesn't comply to the scenery at all. So I guess this drone traffic has been recorded on X-Plane, which has different taxiways. I assume, I don't know. No, luckily I don't have aircraft collision on, so I'm pretending that those guys know that I'm on arrival. If they don't, they don't. So there's our speeds, obviously field made, so full flaps. Focusing on the numbers there. We're not allowed to land on these arrows. We can only depart from there, so for takeoff roll it's fine. Okay. Shallow. 65, a bit more power there. Nose up. All the time in the world. Nose up, 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 nose up. Good. Better, but still no stall warning sound. Flaps up. Gonna depart here. To the right. Aerodynamic braking. There we are. It just overflew us, I believe. Okay, threshold, and behind the threshold line, and stop. Park and brakes set, 1000. Landing lights off, strobe lights off. Altimeter set to on. Windows opened, which is good. And lights are off. And we... Oh, that's what I forgot. Can you see, guys? I didn't go full mixture in and full prop before I entered the traffic pattern. I noticed before we did our entry turn, but I forgot to turn them in, push them in when we were actually on downwind. Bummer. If we did a not really dangerous here in case of the landing, but if we would have done a go around, then we needed a full power setting. So now we lean for ground operations, maximum peak, and cow flaps can go open, and that's it. Parking brakes released. Awesome. Welcome at Delano. Cool. Let's park it here at the FBO, where some guy is cleaning up the ramp, which is always a good thing. Taxiing a bit too fast. I think this is a parking spot for a bigger airplane, but we're just going to pretend that we are. Looking over the nose for the taxi line. Yeah, there it is. Waiting for our main wheels to, well, it's about right. Okay, park and brake set. Again, 1000, which is good. Altimeter set to standby. Magneto tests. They are working. Avionics off. Cut off. That was a follow. Thank you, Carolola. Thank you for showing interest. Ignition switch to off. Generator off. Batteries off. Park and brakes were already set. Prevent cross-feeding. Door open. Seat belts released. Lights, beacon alarm can remain on, and we can, no, not that one, that one. Pitot tube cover is now on. Wheel chocks are there, and the control relux we can do manually. Whoop. And that completes our cross-country, short cross-country flight all the way up from Bakersfield to Delano. Awesome. Oh, there's some other traffic that was just departing. They are doing traffic patterns right around here. Well, I think it went pretty great. I had some mistakes, did some mistakes, made some mistakes. The leaning before takeoff, so the taxi, during taxi I forgot to do leaning. I forgot to push in the prop and the mixture before I entered the traffic pattern. I think I did so. I did lean in, or I did go full in at Lost Hills, but I don't know for sure. I should review the stream or the video. So that was good. I should be aware of my speed, my airspeed on the downwind leg, because it was most of the times, a couple of times it was at 80, while it should be at 90. Good trimming, good engine management, really combining PilotEdge. Yeah, I was sloppy with the radial here. I mean, that was dangerous. I was lucky that I spot that traffic, but because I didn't track that radial properly, my bearing wasn't right, my expectations were wrong. Because if I was on the 030 radial, I would have seen Delano come up on my left side. But as I was turning to the left, I was still looking to the left side. And eventually Delano was already on the right, and I was still looking at the left. So that was, yeah, that was a mistake. Keep to your flight planning, because otherwise, keep to your flight planning. Always critically think about your decisions and how they change your other choices and considerations. I guess that's what it is. Anything else, guys, that you noticed that I should be aware of? I think it went pretty great. Tim, the R around the Palm Springs is really great. You should fly around. Yeah, BB Powder, I know. I've got the Palm Springs ORBX scenery also downloaded, but it isn't ready yet for version 3 of Prepared. So I'm waiting for ORBX to release a compatible version, and yeah, I'm loving the Palm Springs area in terms of scenery, but also of airspace. It's really nice uncontrolled airports. A Bermuda airport. What's that airport called on the north side of Palm Springs? It's not Big Bear, but the other one. I don't know. It's a great area to fly in. So yeah, we're definitely gonna hop over all Southern California, including Palm Springs, to fly there. So no problem. High on the runway. Oh yeah, so the glide slope. Yeah, the glide slope angle. Yeah, that's a good one, Duckface. That's true. So I'm really experimenting with what my glide slope angle should be relative to the runway. In previous episodes, I'm noticing that I'm coming in too steep, so the touchdown phase becomes a little bit more difficult. Now I intended to come in more shallow, but well, that was not always the case. Especially on the final, I come on quite high. Almost never I come on the right glide slope. Yeah, so I should practice that. Still some optimizing to do on that front. Yeah, that's about it. Did you modify real Boeing panels or you bought controllers for the sim? BB Powder asked some time ago. Now this is just, if you look at my first episode, my introductory episode, which is a great one to look because then I explain the whole flight training series, but I'm also showing you what software I'm using and also what hardware I'm using. And I've actually built a functional Cessna Skylane cockpit using the Saitek panels. That's what I'm using. And it looks pretty cool and it really gives a nice sense of flying. So my trim wheel is actually much more down like it would in real life. I have that TPM panel, so a real mixture and a prop lever with switches. I've got my ignition switch here on the left side. It's really looking great. So if you're interested in the channel, have a look at that introductory video. It's a lot of fun, and then obviously you can go on from episode 2 to 3 and see how I've been progressing up to now. And I really love the pace of my flight training, which is really cool. I asked your father. Oh, sorry, yeah. I can see my dad already replied. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, you should see him, his cockpit. I mean, perhaps we can share a picture in one of the future episodes when we are flying together here on the stream. You can see what kind of cockpit he built. Indeed, it's an airliner cockpit, the 737, and it's looking pretty neat. But it's a different kind of setup. He's not using TrackIR, but he's running real physical hardware panels and doing airliner flights. So yeah, that's also very cool. And well, you can ask him when he's on one of the future episodes about his experience and his ideas to get that airliner experience going on, which is pretty cool. Thanks, Ruby. Thanks. Okay, well, guys, that concludes episode 14, our short cross-country flight. Perhaps in the next episode, we're going to do a few more traffic patterns or perhaps some sort of slow flight. I mean, again, there's still some room to get the basics right. Yeah, and then perhaps do another hop, I guess, around the area. We could visit, let me see what we can do. We're now here. There's my girlfriend. We could fly, well, to this airport, Schefter-Minter, MIT. Yeah, it's a good airport we can fly to. It's a small hub. That's not really a short distance cross-country flight. Perhaps we can go to some other airfield, or we could just go to Bakersfield and try to avoid or overfly Meadows, which can also be fun to do. But I guess these short flights are not that difficult. And as soon as I have a feeling that I'm in control, I could already do some flight tests there, and then go to the long distance flights, and that are much more interesting ones. For a long distance flight, I would really like to fly from the Bakersfield area away to this area, in the direction of Palm Springs, which is over here, and get to these airports. And really make use of radio navigation and that kind of stuff, and using PilotEdge. And I think that progress there will be much more rapid than the earlier episodes when I really needed to develop those basic flight skills. So I guess I'm progressing through this first stage of training quite quickly. Let me very quickly just visit Uncertified Pilot. Which is fun because then we can progress to the controlled airspace, and we will really chat with air traffic control, what I'm really looking forward to doing. So uncontrolled airspace. As you can see, traffic patterns by day and by night are already uploaded and put here in the video containers. Next up are short flights by day and by night. Yeah, so that's something that I can do also. I don't feel that much. I mean, PilotEdge was an issue and a challenge in the previous episodes, but I think I've I've improved it already a bit. Still, I made some mistakes on this flight too. We could also try to fly some departure routes here or arrivals just to get a better sense of navigation using radio navigation. But it wouldn't be that difficult, I guess. And then we can already do flight tests and move on. So, yeah, it's going great. Looking forward to chat with the air traffic controllers and get that ATC complexity coming in. Well, that's about it, guys. Episode 14. My gosh, going quickly. Again, thank you so much for joining and jumping on board here, sharing your knowledge and tips and suggestions, watching me progress here through my flight training. And I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your follows and your encouragement for me to keep going. So, guys, thank you so much again. I don't know when I'm going to stream next this week, perhaps in the weekend. I don't know for sure yet, but I will tweet on my Twitter channel, Uncertified Pilot, to let you guys know if you're interested. And we can make another short flight or perhaps some traffic pattern flying. If you have suggestions, let me know what we can do. Perhaps we can do some emergency procedures. That's probably something interesting to do. Engine out procedures and that kind of stuff, which might be challenging too. Either way, thank you so much, guys. Hoping to see you next time. Blue skies and happy flights. Bye.
I'm passing through 500 Chinook 715. 715, 134.125.